All right. Thank you so much, Anthony and Jasana, just Office of Advancement, for um, having me here today. I'm very excited to join you all. I'm hoping you all can see my screen. So like Anthony said, right, I serve as Director of Career Development here, and this career development is truly my bread and butter, right? I really believe that everyone should have equal access, right, to showcase our skills. And today we're actually focusing on how we can build our professional online presence, right? And so these are some things, right? That you should be thinking about, or maybe you have not had the time to think about, but I'm here to support you. So let's just get started. All right. So, Jasana, you can confirm that we can see the screen, correct? Just a quick thumbs up.
Yeah, we can see.
Perfect.
Thanks
All
for
right.
asking.
Thank you. Yes. So today we're going to be talking about LinkedIn, right? Which is essentially a very, very large professional network social media platform, right? As of, I believe, their data shows that January of this 2025, they've had 1.1 billion um, professionals that are on LinkedIn. And people use it for various reasons, right? So to connect with others, to kind of get informed, right, about their fields and industries, but also just kind of learn what's going on, right? Are there new jobs, right, that they're interested in? So it's a really good place to just get noticed, get hired, get connected. Um, and there are a lot of people who are using it. Let me give you some numbers. So, these are some quick stats here. 59% of the users are between the age of 25 and 34. Um, a very large amount, 77% of US college graduates use LinkedIn. I know at North Park, that's something that we're also looking to continue to develop and really establish this professional online presence, right? Because especially post-COVID, right? The way that we meet people sometimes has changed, right? And it may be more organic, right, to meet someone, right, online and know how to make that connection, right? So, um, fun fact here, 72% of the users that are on LinkedIn live outside of the United States, which was actually very surprising to me. But I wanted to mention that. All of us here in the room, right, or in the virtual space, probably use LinkedIn every day, right? I know some of you probably only use it when you're job searching or when you need it, meaning you need to post something, you need to post an event. Right. And some of us are just not sure if our profiles, right, are enough, right? Or maybe not as updated as we would want it to, right? And all of that is okay. Let me tell you why, right? Because actually, a lot of people visit LinkedIn, and spend maybe about 1 minute just scanning, LinkedIn, right? So no one's really spending, or on average, most users don't spend multiple hours a day, right? Usually it's a few frequent, short-term scans, right? And I bring this up, right? The 100 million messages sent daily, and the fact that people are just kind of scanning LinkedIn, because that shows us, right, that our LinkedIn profiles need to aim for clarity, right? And that's very important because if people, whether that's again professionals or employers or people that you're looking to connect with, are only spending about a minute every time they go on LinkedIn on average, then we need to make sure that we, right, are scannable, right? And that our profiles are as clear as possible. And so today I really want to talk about just three levels, right? So kind of keep it short and easy. Level one is really going to talk about setting the foundation, right? So this is information and tips and things that you should change, that are pretty easy to change, and I'll walk you through them. Um, Again, foundational to just get us closer to our profiles being impactful and also clear. Level two will take us through, how are we getting out there, right? Our visibility and credibility, right? Are we adding certifications and credentials, those kinds of things? And then level three is a little bit more advanced, not too much. This platform is very user friendly, and sometimes we just need to know how to use it, right? And there are some other optional tools to, again, continue to develop our profile. So, at a minimum, right after this session, if you decide to not do anything else, right, try to consider some of these foundational things within this level, which include just kind of assessing, do I have a good profile photo, right? A professional headshot. Do I have a good headline? Do I need to spend some time doing, changing my headline? The summary or your about section, right? One, do you have one? And two, is it impactful, right? Take a look at your profile today and just kind of ask yourself, right? What is the story that one, I'm trying to portray, and is that clear enough, right? Um, the other thing is skills. Skills are very important. I'll share some stats in a little bit, but the other thing is also customizing your profile URL, right? I did add this QR code. Anytime you see a QR code, it should be a step-by-step guide. So I won't spend too much time on showing you how to, change your profile URL, but all of this is very important, right? Because the point of making your LinkedIn profile clear is also making it just easy for someone to reach you, right? So whether you decide to put your LinkedIn on your resume, for example, right? You don't want to use a URL that just says first name, last name, and then a set of 10 numbers, right? How can we customize that and make it as clear and easy for people to reach you? Okay. So before the session ends, if you all can, if you want a copy of this presentation, I know you will also see a recording of this, but if you want this copy or just more information, please type in your email. Um, in the chat so that I can directly send this to you, so that you can have access to all the links and the guides. Okay, so I really want to take it step by step, right? Profile pictures and the headshots are super important, right? Especially if, again, we are meeting with new professionals or colleagues, or depending on where you are in your career journey, maybe you're just really trying to spice up your LinkedIn profile, right? And you want to make sure that, again, you have a good headshot. You want to make sure that it follows these three things, right? So it should be recent and look like you, right? Because um, I've seen it all actually. I've seen a lot of things. I've seen people on vacation and put their picture as their profile picture. I've seen recent graduates or transitioning and still having their prom pictures as their profile picture. I've seen baby pictures, right? I've seen a lot of things on the profile. So you want to make sure that you have a recent headshot, right? So at least, just rule of thumb, maybe you can get one every 3 years, every 4 years, right? That would be okay at a minimum. Of course, if you get one every year, that's perfect. But your headshot should clearly show your face, right? Because when you are from afar, you really can't showcase who you are, right? Or who's in the profile. And when we don't, often this is like the first time that people are looking at your profile, especially if you're like a third degree connection or a second degree connection. This is the first thing that they're seeing. So you want to make sure that you have a professional picture. And also, again, I have the match how you want to show it professionally, right? So I'm not too sure what industries we have in the room, but really, spend some time thinking about your industry and how this can impact the professional picture, right? So, for example, I have seen professionals who are in the creative industry, right? Where they are artists and, those kinds of things. It would be appropriate, and you could have a headshot that is more related or has a background, right? Where, it's paint. Of course, it's not, something abstract where you can't see anything. The focus should always be you. But there are different ways that you can match, right, who you are professionally with your headshot. So I have some examples. These are not people from North Park, just a quick, easy Google search, right? So, but these are some of the pictures that I've seen here. So, for example, right, I think this is great. You went to Lake Michigan and you took a picture, right? But always make sure that you try to avoid any sunglasses, right? People should clearly see your face. You actually don't need a professional photographer, right, to take the headshot. If you have the time to take one, that's amazing. But this is what we call kind of DIY headshots, right? So the picture here at the left, I'm sure was probably taken on the portrait mode, probably outside. After the session, if you want to connect with me, you'll actually see my headshot that was taken with an iPhone. Totally fine, right? If you have your portrait mode, right? The back isn't too distracting. I could still see this person. Of course, to elevate this picture, I'd probably wear, he could have worn a suit or something like that. Again, depending on your how you want to showcase yourself professionally, right? So same thing here with this example to the right. If you are taking a DIY headshot, again, make sure that the background is clear, right? Don't take it in the back of, or just being in front of your closet and you have all this stuff, busyness behind you, right? If you're going to take a DIY headshot, right? Make sure that you're aware of your surroundings. Also, make sure that you're looking at the camera, right? This side profile could be something you post on Facebook maybe, but for LinkedIn, you really want to make sure that you're looking into the camera, right? And as you can see, right, usually again, headshots, just kind of above, just essentially just your face, right? So, that's what you want to portray on your LinkedIn. And so same thing here again, right? Make sure that you have good lighting. Here it's kind of hard to see this person's eyes, right? So just make sure that you spend some time, right, taking a look at your profile to make sure that you have a good picture, right? Because that often gives off a first good impression, right? And we only get those once. So, I'll spend some time with questions later, but so just make sure either you type them into the chat so we can make sure that we go back to them. So now moving along into the headline. The headline is usually below your picture, right? So often our students will say, or for me, right? Sometimes you would have your first name, last name, and then your role, right? But at a minimum, you should have that. However, how can we make it better, right? This is exactly your headline is the prime real estate, right? It's what people see first, right? Next to your picture, right? So instead of just you putting the title, I would recommend to use kind of this formula here, right? So what do you do? Who do you help? And what's your impact, right? In my case, right? What do I do? Right? I direct the Office of Career Development. Who do I help or serve? Right? Um, I could say something along the lines of first generation students or achieving career equity, right? Whatever that looks like. I'm happy to again workshop some of your headlines if you're interested in that. But I do have this example here. So let's say you're a marketing manager. You might say in using this formula, marketing manager helping nonprofits grow community engagement, right? So someone who's reading your profile isn't wondering kind of what kind of marketing manager you are, right? It's clear, your goal is clear, focusing on community engagement, right? You're focusing on nonprofits. So this is a really great place for you to showcase your story and make it a little bit more clear. So again, if you have questions, let me know. Um, and this is just kind of going in the order of LinkedIn profile sections, right? So when we are adding our about section, it's also very important that we're able to tell our stories, right? So again, going back to clarity, who do you want to be on a professional online, in your professional online presence, right? How can you share your story? And so this is also a good formula that I guide our students and alumni, right? So where are you right now? Right? What that could be your role. It could be, right, your identity that you want to highlight. It could be, um, maybe you're taking a gap year from school or whatever that looks like, right? Just where are you now? What are you good at, right? So it could be you focusing on your skills, right? So fostering a safe environment, right, to promote community engagement, right? Or in this case, if you've continued your education or taking some courses or have focused on, I don't know, could be, yeah, marketing or it could be conflict resolution, whatever this is. What are you good at, right? Or some projects. Third is what matters to you professionally, right? And that could be connected to where are you going or where you want to go. So what are those career goals or passion, right? Um, that where you're currently at. And then lastly is a call to action, right? So you really want to invite others to connect. So for example, I mean, I can really spend so much time on going through the about section, but really think about, right, where are you right now? And what is the goal, right? Who are you trying to connect with? Are you, for example, in sales, right? And you want to connect with, um, you're trying to sell something to someone, right? Or you're trying to sell a service, right? Who are you trying to connect and who are you trying to invite into your profile, right? So that might be a call to action. If you're looking to blank, contact me, right? If you're looking to connect with other professionals, right? You can say, um, I I would love to, if you're interested in, could be community organization, right? And learn more about blank. Please feel free to connect with me. Actually call them, right? And invite them to connect with you. I also get the question, should it be like a story? Should I include emojis? Should I include exclamation marks? All those things. Um, Think about the short answer is yes, you can. However, think about what your identity is or what you want your professional online presence to be, right? So when I'm talking about emojis, for example, I know a lot of our recent grads want to use emojis and put the fire emoji and the sunglasses and all those things, right? However, right, you want to make sure if you're going to use that you're strategic, right? Only put it next to a keyword. If it creates a good impact, right? Or a call to action. But if we're just putting like a heart and then a star or something like that, right? Really think about how you think you're being impactful, but maybe that could look unprofessional and unclear, right? So those are some things that I would consider. If you have some stuff or a draft, or you want me to look at your about sections, I am more than happy to and really guide you through how can we make it, where are we right now and how we can make it stronger. Okay, so let's keep going. Um, Okay, so I will start with the stat first, and then I'll walk you through why they matter, because I think that that's just very important. So in LinkedIn, profiles that have five or more skills are nearly three times more likely to receive connection requests. Okay, so these are skills that you showcase based on experiences that you've had. So, for example, every time you post a position, right? In my case, for example, in career development, right? I might put guidance, right, as one of the skills, right? Or communication, problem solving, strategic thinking, right? So the more keywords that I mean, of course, you don't want to have a whole dictionary of all the keywords that you have, but on average, right, when you have five or more skills, your profile, right, is more likely to receive connections, right? Because LinkedIn, similar to a lot of other social media platforms, is also a search engine, right? So you can search for, again, positions and people, right? And skills as well, right? So if your profile has those and your goal is to connect, right, with employers or whatever your case might be strategic about the skills that you showcase, right? And beyond that, right, don't just put, again, skills that repeat themselves, right? So, for example, um, I see a lot of students put teamwork and collaboration, right? Um, I wouldn't put teamwork in every single position, right? You want to start being strategic about how you can showcase those skills, right? And where does it make the most sense for you to put it? There are also, and I can include this before I send it out. I'll do another step-by-step guide where you can actually change the order of your skills. So again, really think about what your current goal is, right? Are you simply just trying to showcase a wide range of skills? Then you might, again, reorder the skills to showcase different things. If you're really trying to transition out of your current career, then you might highlight certain set of skills, right? So I'm going to add that to the presentation, just kind of a step-by-step guide for you and links and all of that to help you do that. And then we can also talk about this later on in our session. Okay, so that just kind of wrapped up level one. I think there are still so many other things, right, that we can talk about how to optimize your profile. But let's transition into level two. So really now you should have again your profile picture, your about section, your headline, skills and experiences, right? So how do we now transition from having the foundational groundwork, right, to okay, now how do I make LinkedIn work for me, right? Why does it matter for me to have an updated profile, right? And the good thing is, again, is that level two really allows you to once you have a good profile, right, for people to reach out to you, to really engage in strategic networking, right? How do you focus on showcasing who you are, right, by asking someone who managed you or someone that you managed to write you a letter of recommendation, for example? How do you showcase your previous experiences and credentials, and just simply how you engage? Okay, so I know it can be awkward to network, right? And for myself, I'm a first generation, I was a first generation student, and the term networking often seemed a little scary for me, right? And so sometimes there's just that awkwardness that comes with networking, and how do you just reach out to someone? And the first thing that I want to say is I don't think I included, or I did, personalized connection request. So the first thing that you want to do is to show up authentically, right? When you're connecting, LinkedIn isn't about the number of connections, right? At some point, right, let's say you're 500 plus, right, connections, you want to be strategic about who you're connecting with and what your goal is, right? Um, so if you are sending out connections, make sure that you're always sending a note, right? So whether you met someone at a networking event or maybe you met them at an alumni networking event or whatever the situation was, always send a note, right? If you're connecting with professors or coworkers, right? Send them a note. Um, so that you can let them know, hey, we met at so and so networking event. It was really great to hear about the work you're doing in blank. I'm looking forward to be part of your network, right? I think that always sets you apart, and can really level up how your professional online presence. When you're getting messages, make sure that you're also following up, right? So when people reach out, make sure again that you're responding back, that you're professional, that you're timely about the situation or the message. It's also okay to say, hey, this time doesn't work. However, right, can we connect early 2026, for example, right? That's totally okay, but that's also just responding. Okay. All right. So moving along to recommendations, it's kind of just building up your social capital, right? So how can you use LinkedIn to work for you? Now that you might be, again, a really heavy user of LinkedIn, but maybe you haven't had the chance to explore all the features, you can ask individuals or your connections in this case to write you letters or to write you recommendations that are always going to be showcased on your profile, right? So I added a step-by-step guide here of me actually asking for a recommendation. So again, you can feel free to scan it, or I will send you the link to the step-by-step guide as well. But this is very important, right? Because your LinkedIn is kind of like your online resume, right? So again, if you're transitioning or looking to transition roles, right, it's very strategic for you to think about who are those people that I can ask, right, to write me a recommendation. Um, Employers and just people in general like to see that you receive recommendations, but that you also give recommendations, right? So, how can you vouch for someone and how can you ask someone to endorse, right? Either skills or showcase different skills of yours, right? So, if you worked under someone, they might talk on your work ethic, right? Or, your initiative, right? And then now that's something that becomes visible, right, to other people without you really uh, over, promote yourself, right? And say and focus on all the achievements. Especially again, that can also vary by industry. So again, maybe you're working in sales and you don't want to spend your entire profile on focusing all the achievements, right? I think there's a way to do that. But a really strategic way to do that is through the recommendations, right? Because now it's not just you saying that, there are people, right, and professionals, right, who are saying this about you, right? So I hope that you find that helpful. Now moving along to credentials. Um, LinkedIn is a really great place to showcase micro credentials that you've received. Those can include any certifications. Um, Even if, right? So my students always reach out to me like, hey, I did a certification in the summer. Do you think it's too late to post it? Right? My rule of thumb is, or my just suggestion is it's never too late, right? Unless now it's expired, maybe, right? You wouldn't put that. But maybe you might take the time to do a reflection post, right? Late last summer, right? I completed my mental health first aid training. This is what it taught me, right? And then, you can write a reflective post and share that, right? But you can include any certifications. You can also include any trainings that you've received, right? And include that under the certifications tab, or also as a post. If you are able as well and can, it may be strategic for you to invest in LinkedIn Premium, because it provides you many professional courses, right, that are taught by industry experts, right? So it could be, for example, something within your industry or more of a soft skill. There are professional certificates that are there. There are thousands of certificates that are there. So again, I am more than happy to send you some of those courses if you're interested in. Of course, it won't cost you to take the course, but I do think that it will charge you to retrieve the certificate. But if you're just looking to do some certifications, I am happy. Again, reach out to me and I'm happy to send you some of those. Or really think about, hey, I'm maybe transitioning careers, right? What kind of certifications can get me back up on my feet, right? I am more than happy to share some insight on that as well. But LinkedIn is a really great place for us to share that, so that we can showcase, right, other skills and focus and industries or interests, sorry, that we have. Okay. All right. And then something else, a question that I get very often is, I have to post often, right? Because sometimes people don't barely get on LinkedIn, right? Again, kind of looking at the only spending 1 minute at most, right? Posting seems intimidating. It's also, I've heard from a lot of our Scandinavian students, for example, that they tell me like, hey, it's kind of not normal for us to show off, right? And so one, it's totally normal for you to showcase, right, your achievements, and you should be showcasing that. There are ways to do that, and you don't have to do that every day. You don't have to talk about, you receiving an achievement every day, but there are different ways that you can still stay active. If you have a LinkedIn account, just go to your profile and check your activity. Just check your activity. When was the last time that you posted? Right? If that was more than 5 months ago, maybe consider posting something, or you can also just like and comment, right, on posts, right, that might be interesting to you. That also is part of the activity. And so people who, again, if the goal is for you to connect with other professionals or to grow your professional online presence, your activity really matters, right? So make sure that you're engaging in that. Let's say you don't want to post anything and maybe there's, nothing for you to comment on. You can also just share relevant content, right? And share your thoughts with that, right? Even if you just share, for example, a position, right, that someone's, hiring for, and you're not necessarily interested in it, but maybe your network might be, right? You can share that and just type one sentence, right? If you're a marketing student looking for an opportunity, blank company is hiring. Check them out, right? That contributes to your activity. It could be articles. It could be sometimes people share their research and you want to share that or comment. There's a lot of algorithms, right, on LinkedIn. And so sometimes people will say, right, commenting for reach, right? And if you comment, that post then becomes visible, right, to your network, right? So that's also very important. Just some quick stats here, right? If you do post with images, they are 2 times likely to receive more engagement and more impressions. And so the more impressions that you have, again, it just increases the number of people who have access to see that post, and with that, right, to have access to connect with you, right, and send you connections. Now, that engagement percentage, right, also increases if you do a video, right? So if you're wanting to be strategic, and post maybe twice a month, you might consider to post a few pictures, right, or 2 pictures, at the beginning of the month, and maybe a reflection video if you want, or every 3 months, right, to continue that engagement. Usually, when you post a picture, right, you'll still be receiving. Like traffic, right, for the next 2 weeks, right? So if you need to space out your the content that you share, you are more than welcome to do that. And again, I'm happy to guide you through that with your specific industries, um, so that we can make sure that you're spicing up your LinkedIn, right? Okay. So, I think this is a good time before we move to level 3. I think we might actually get to the questions part, but how are we doing? Just a quick check-in. Does anyone have any questions so far? Maybe just a thumbs up or something if we can continue. All right, perfect. Thank you, Christine, Anthony. All right. Okay, we're good. Lots of thumbs up here. All right, so let's keep going into level 3. And so these are, again, just optional tools for us to elevate our use of handshake, or not handshake, sorry, LinkedIn. Um, so when you are on the mobile app, you can also put the pronunciation of your name, right? Because names are very valuable, very important, and people should be pronouncing your names correctly, right? So, unfortunately, you can't do that on the website version, but if you have the mobile app in your profile, there's an opportunity for you to upload an audio. So that's something that I would recommend. The other thing that I would recommend is, and I don't think I have it here, but it's also verifying your account, right? So if you're working with a company, usually in your profile section on the mobile app or in the desktop version, you can verify your account and verify that you have, for example, an email with that company, right? Which again elevates the chances of you getting viewed as well, right? So there's also information out there that kind of going back to LinkedIn being a search engine, right? When employers and people are looking to connect, they can search up, right? For example, people who are in accounting and then who are verified will probably be closer to the top than and more visible than those who are not verified. Um, okay. Then you can also, again, this is optional if you have any projects or research that you've worked on, anything that you've published, right? So articles or again, research papers or any publishing publication that you have, that is something that you can also include. And again, can elevate, right, your online presence, right? Now I recognize, right, that a lot of you maybe have your own businesses, right? Or maybe consultants, freelancers, whatever your situation is. You can also invest some time in showcasing, right, the services that you have. I will also add a QR code and a link. I may just have not added it here, but there's a way, right, for you to showcase kind of the work that you are doing. So I will make sure to include that. Um, some of the things, right, that a lot of people just kind of make the mistake, right, when using LinkedIn. For one, right, is do not have LinkedIn and don't connect with people, right? So if you have LinkedIn, you should be connecting with people. So again, just take a look at your profile. How many connections do you have? Again, it's not really the number, but it's who are you connecting with? Um, are there alumni, right, that you can reach out to and connect with? Mentors, right? Or are you a mentor and you want to connect, right, with mentees, right? LinkedIn is the perfect place to do that. Also, not having a complete profile. And so what we've talked about in this session is, for example, making sure that you do have an appropriate picture, right? So if you don't, then that it doesn't necessarily make it an incomplete profile, but not as an impactful profile, right? You should have a headline and you should have, again, having that improved and updated headline. Also, not don't forget to include the summary, which is your about section. All of those things, right? Languages, skills, those are all things that you need to put on your profile, right? So just take a look at your profile. What does it have? What is it missing? Right? Or even just again, customizing that URL, super important. Also, just the other mistake is that sometimes people only use LinkedIn to post an event or to look for a job, right? Or just use LinkedIn only when you need it, right? And that's a mistake, right? Because it should be used, and you should get to that level too, where you start using LinkedIn to work for you, right? To showcase the skills that you have on its own. So someone who views your profile should have a good idea as to what you're doing, who you're serving, and what your goal is, right? And that's how you can start, again, having LinkedIn work for you. You also, another mistake is that people have LinkedIn and maybe don't post for a year, 2 years, a few months, right? So you want to make sure that you remain active. And active doesn't mean every day. You can post once a month, twice a month, right? That's totally okay. And posting does not mean that you have to think about what you need to post, right? You can just reshare some things, right? Comment on things that are interesting to you. Be strategic again about how you're connecting and how you're increasing that activity. Also make sure that you are double checking for typos and just inaccurate information, right? So I have worked with a lot of students, right, that sometimes put that they're speaking a different language and they're not, right? So again, just those kinds of things, just really assess the current skills that you have there, are they all accurate? Right. And if they are, I would recommend, right, for you to ask your connections and your network to endorse those skills, right? So again, if I were endorsing Jasana or Anthony, right? And if they had event planning, that would be something that I would endorse them on, right? Because that's something that we've collaboratively done together, right? So just be strategic and honest, right, about adding your skills, but also who you're endorsing and who's endorsing you, right? I think another mistake that I've seen is just people oversharing sensitive information. So, immigration status, for example. I hope everyone knows this, but you should never be putting your social security anywhere online, right? But not on any social media platforms, right? So, unfortunately, that's stuff that I've seen on different social media platforms. So, just make sure that you're being cognizant of your profile and what's there, right? Of course, there are always some privacy settings that you can set, but I just want you to just be aware of that, right? And then also another mistake that I've seen is listing authorized unemployment employment, sorry, right? So for example, maybe you can label it as a project or volunteer work, right? But again, just be honest about the work experience that you've had on there. Um, all right. So now, hopefully we've gone through level one, two, and three. Again, there are just so many other things that I can still talk about with LinkedIn, but I do want to make sure that we have some time to talk about your profiles as well if you have any questions. But really take something with you today, right? So try to choose something that you can focus on, that's tangible. So maybe that's one foundation update. Maybe that's you updating your headshots, right? Or your headline, doing one thing to increase your visibility, and maybe one of the goals, right? That was in option three, right? So that's your name pronunciation, whatever it is. Just try to level up your LinkedIn. If you can, I challenge you to do something before the end of, 2025. But if not, again, I'm happy to talk to you. Again, our services and career development are still available for our alumni. And that could be, having conversations about, hey, what kind of presence do I want to have online, right? Or career conversations, transitioning careers, right? If you want me to review, right, your LinkedIn profile, summary, headlines, right, those kinds of things, or simply reviewing your resume, those are things that I am more than happy to connect with you on. And then something super exciting is that we have a good quality camera. So we've actually been taking our professional headshots on campus. Usually we have a few events right throughout the semester. So those events will be posted on Handshake. But you are more than welcome to come to campus, make a day of it, right? Get your headshot, update your LinkedIn. That's something that, again, is a service that you have, and it's a free service. So please feel free to, again, reach out to me. I did include this QR code to Handshake. Essentially, Handshake is the platform that we use for students and alumni to schedule appointments with career development, to also check out events. It's also a good place to showcase the things that, your successes, achievements, experiences. But if you're also an employer, right? Maybe you're looking to hire interns. Again, this is also a really good place for you to do that. I'm happy to talk to you about Handshake as well. We've been using Handshake now for about 3 years. So it's just been a really great tool. And if you're a Handshake guru or not, right, I'm happy to talk to you about Handshake. So I will be sending out this presentation to you all. But thank you so much. And yeah, at this time, I want to welcome any questions or anything that you would like to further clarification on, or any questions. All right. So maybe you don't have any questions. If you do, you can also put them on the chat. Or otherwise, I know you put in your emails in the chat, so I can send that information. And again, you can use that email to reach out to me if you do have any questions. Um, I did want to also provide you with this QR code. This is kind of our link tree. So we have step-by-step guides. That focus on how to schedule an appointment. This mainly relates to students and alumni. However, if you are an employer and you are on the recruiting side or want to connect me with that, and you want the employer side of Handshake, I am more than happy to provide you with that information. That is all I've got for you today. Again, if there are no questions, yeah, that's pretty much all I have, and I hope you all have a great holiday. I hope this was helpful. Oh yeah, Christine.
So I'm mid-career level and I'm LinkedIn with many, many people. And, I find that some people who have left my previous employer, they become kind of like boastful in what they post on LinkedIn, starts to sound a little
Right.
desperate.
hmm
And like, what are the tips for not kind of going down that avenue?
Yeah. So, I think that's something that I've heard a lot, especially in that career level. So I would recommend, so there are a few things, right? It's very important, right, that you're also feeling that you are in control, because you are in control of your professional online presence. Um, and by that, I mean, you can also start to be a little bit strategic about one, who we're connecting with, one. Two, there's also a feature on LinkedIn that allows you to, maybe there are some stuff that you may don't want to see, right? There are ways that you can also mute, right? Some connections, one without them knowing. But again, I'm happy to provide that a little bit more insight, Christine, to to talk to you about those things. But in terms of um, kind of wanting to bring back the you don't have to post every day, right? It could simply be your thoughts. It could be, right, just sharing. It could be commenting on things. And I think that that could be a good way, right, for you to avoid getting in a place where you're just showcasing, right, all the I think you're saying that they're boastful, right? So that could be a way to also showcase who you are and what your role is in your professional online presence, if that makes sense. But I'm happy to provide you more insight. I know you sent me your personal email, so I can connect with you there as well.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Christina, for joining us today. I did want to highlight one thing. If you are at all interested in supporting students and working with students, there are some exciting initiatives coming up. Did you want to share anything about that, Christina?
Yes, yes. So, like I mentioned, so thank you for sending me your email. I will also be sending this information via email because we are super excited to share that this past year we've been working on a Career Champions Initiative, which is an opportunity for us to connect and partner with alumni who are who are seasoned professionals who simply can guide students through the ropes, right? You don't have to be senior leadership, right? Just your alumni, right? And you have something to show to our students. And if that's you, if you're in that place that you want to mentor or coach students through things like resume development, cover letter writing, it could be professional online presence or networking. It could be just guidance, right? And trying to figure things out from a career perspective, vocational conversations, right? If that's you and you want to create or have a really great impact in the lives of our students, we are having a few more info sessions, but just the opportunity for you to learn about what Career Champions is. And I will send that information on via email. So if you are interested in that, I will also just be reaching out and having this partnership with Anthony so that we can connect to as many alumni. To basically just help our students out, right? For right now, we are in this pilot program. So these sessions that you will be meeting with students will be virtual. But yeah, they don't have to be, it's not too much time commitment. Really, our appointment sessions will only be anywhere from 30 minutes to 40 minutes, with having at least 3 touch points a month, right? So I'm hoping it's not too much of a commitment, but I know that, again, our mission, our North Park mission really connects us, right? And so I'm hoping that if you are interested in joining us for our Career Champions program, I'm happy to give you more information on that. But um, that could be another session, another hour. I'm willing to spend it.
Wonderful. Well, again, thank you so much, Christina. Just a reminder that all these talks will be up on YouTube, and just thank you all for joining us. This is the first year that we have done Compass Talks, and we have really loved being able to share with the North Park community kind of the different things that are happening on campus and different ways that you can grow and learn, even though you're not here on campus any longer. We're currently in the process of planning for next year. So keep an eye out, alumni.northpark.edu. Watch that website. You'll get updates from us, but we do really hope that you have a wonderful holiday season. Hope that you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you so much. Happy holidays, everyone.
Take care, everyone.